Hey, what's up, everybody? Testing, testing, 1, 2. Can everybody hear me? Welcome to the live chat, I guess I should say. And yeah, so let's jump on into it. If you haven't got a chance to already, go download a free 7-day trial of Midas. You can use the link in the description below, or you can click this little try button here on the website and download a copy. So the installation should be super easy for you guys. If you double click the folder, I've already got it installed, but I'll show you just kind of what the folder looks like. You can just double click this little install OSX file or install win file, and it should install to your system. If you have any trouble at all, you can actually go to this website called zxpinstaller.com, which is actually the Adobe extension installer. So if you have any problems with our auto install, you can actually go ahead and also use this Midas ZXP file and just drop that into the ZXP installer, and it'll also install great. So once you have your project installed, we can go on into After Effects and get started, and Midas can be found in your menu bar under Window and Extensions. So in today's example, we're going to be doing this little message that I sent out earlier, and it's going to be a good step into understanding. Oh, looks like I'm not sharing the screen yet. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you for letting me know. I'm going to share this. Can everybody see me? Is this better? Thank you so much for letting me know. Sorry about that, guys. Can't see the desktop. Wow, this is great kickoff. And also, I'll say, my really good friend and also the developer for Midas, Kuhn Schmitz, is in the live chat, and he's going to be taking any questions you guys have along the way. So thanks again for letting me know about that, and I do apologize. So anyway, in today's thing, you can see what we're going to work on today, and I won't be doing as many live streams later. Just for this launch week, I want to kind of show you all the abilities of each of the tools. So if you go under Messages and into the archive, you're going to see that we sent out this little setup and rig text in minutes, which is this little example that we're going to be building and creating today. And so that's how you kind of know what live streams are coming and if you want to stop by and ask questions. But this is a really, really awesome system to play with, and we're able to create an animation that can get pretty complex like this with literally 5 keyframes. And this isn't random movement. This is actually movement that I was able to design. So I'm going to go and look just at this kind of what our expressions are doing, and this is all built with the Midas system. So you have all these controls that you can shape and design references to your keyframes. So you have this master set of keyframes that we saw in the other composition, and they're affecting all these children in all kinds of interesting ways. And as you can see, these curves are really, really nice. And when I do the playback, it's just really, really smooth and nice motion that we're going to be able to change and animate in tons and tons of cool and interesting ways really, really easy. So the first thing we're going to want to do is kind of work with some imported artwork, because Midas can work with any kind of layer, property, anything you can imagine. And it also works with any effects. So that includes stuff like the Video Copilot Element 3D, or any of the native effects and presets, or even other tools and scripts like Rubber Hose if you're into that. So there's a ton you're going to be able to do with this tool. So the first thing we're going to want to do for this example is get some imported artwork. So if you go on over into Illustrator, we're going to kind of build this little scene, and just for people who don't know how to do it, we'll go through it really, really quick, but it'll be a nice quick setup. So the first thing we're going to do is just create a background color. To be honest, I guess you don't need a background color, but why not cover it all? So we're going to do black as the background color and lock that layer. And we're going to work with some text today just to kind of recreate this example, and pick any maybe like fake company name. Before I did Squib, I don't know what that even means, but sounds like a hip company. So let's go and maybe I'll even animate Midas, because that is pretty easy. So there we go. I've got my text in here. The next thing we're going to go and do is do Object, Expand, and say OK. And this is going to convert our text to some shape layers, and we can do Shift-Command-G on our keyboard to kind of ungroup them. So the next thing we're going to do is select this layer and go down to Release Layers to Sequence, and select all these little layers and just pull them out if you can, and delete that layer too. So since we have white text, you can't really make out what the letters are. So I'm going to have to actually just type what this is and use all my brain power and go backwards through the name Midas. So there we go. We have this basic little setup, and now I think we're going to be able to go and import this into After Effects and work with Midas really, really quick. So let me just center this up a touch more, because yeah, that was not so good looking. So let's save this somewhere. I saved it as vector text, and we're going to go back into After Effects, click into your project panel, and go and import your vector text file or whatever artwork you're choosing to import. So import is a composition, and we want to do the layer size as our dimensions. So you can convert these to shape layers if you want, or you can just work with the Illustrator files, and it works great. So let's jump into the cool stuff. The first thing we're going to want to do is kind of imagine what we want to animate. So in this basic example, we're only going to be working with the basic property of position. So yeah, let's go and jump into it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is designate both a parent layer and the properties you want to control. So in this case, I think I'm going to work with my whole animation off the letter M and have all the animation that I put onto M affect all the children. So we're going to press P on our keyboard to see the position property of M and select that. So we've designated a parent, and you're going to hold Shift and also select the layers that you'd like to select or use or animate as children. Now, hello to Canada from Colorado, Michigan. Or not Colorado, Michigan, that's 2 states, Colorado, US, and New York City. That's rad. Thanks a lot for stopping by the stream, guys. And if you have any questions about anything that's happening, just feel free to ask Kuhn. He knows everything and is a really smart dude. So anyway, back to this example. I'm going to go and click into Midas. So assuming you've met all the prereqs, actually won't meet the prereqs, you're going to get an error. And in this case, this is invalid property. Basically, we need a property in order to animate what we want. So now that I've met the property, I'm going to click this again, and it says select at least 2 layers because we need a parent and a child. So right now we have a designated parent, but we want to also select the children. So I'm going to hold Shift, select the children, and we're going to push it into a Midas system. So now when I click Midas, the screen's actually going to go to a screen we call a submenu. So in this submenu, we're going to have options to kind of change how Midas ends up working. We're going to kind of work in a basic example today. So we're going to click the option key, and we're going to click the option comp, and we're also going to click the option guide. So what we're going to do is click Midas, and it's going to run the system after we enter a name for it. So I'm going to call this text example or XT example, XDE. I'm going to keep it because that is so good, and you're going to press enter to launch the tool. So as you can see, we have now a composition, XTE children, and we have an XTE guided layer, which is actually related to the guide that we created from the Midas submenu. So what's really nice when you are pushing children into compositions, that sounds so crazy, when you're putting your children into the compositions, you can hide them and work with your parent animation, get that perfect in a really, really fast, real-time experience, and then see how it affects your children. So what we're going to do to kind of start this example is press U on your keyboards, and you're going to see that a keyframe is now created onto our position property because we select the keyframe option on our Midas submenu. So we're going to add just a quick animation and see how this affects the children, which should be kind of exciting. So I'm going to go forward in time and just set a basic keyframe by pulling Midas off the screen to the left, or not Midas, the letter M, and then I'm going to pull it down like this. So as you can see, it's a very basic animation. It's just a little L, and when I play it, it should probably be the worst animation you've seen in a long time. So let's see if we can make that bad animation a little bit better by putting the same bad animation onto the children. So our text is now back onto the screen, and when I preview the animation, you're going to see we now kind of have this little delayed relationship that's literally the keyframes from our parent being pushed to the children, but obviously this looks terrible. So what we're going to do is go back into time to where you can see where your parent or the M is located, as long as it's somewhere on the screen, and we're going to use grab and magnetism to kind of build out how our children are going to be affected. And what's up, Washington, D.C., Latvia, Dominica, I think, and Finland. These streams are going to be available on the channel later today. Yesterday we tried to do a stream, but I forgot to click the archive button, so we didn't get anything. The main goal of this plugin is to make animation very flexible and generative, and I'm going to show you this in just a second. Basically, instead of using 20 keyframes, you can do a lot of animations with just 2 or 3 and build out these kind of relative relationships in a way that makes doing commercial level work or projects or making changes really, really easy and effortless, to answer your question, Brent. So thanks for asking that too, by the way. So if I click into the children composition, we're going to see we have our letters that we originally worked with. Now, each of the letters is actually going to have some effect controls we created through Midas. every time you select properties, you're going to have an effect control for the related property, both on the parent and on the children if you want to get into some more advanced features. So we're going to kind of show off what grab does here by pressing E on your keyboard to see what your effects are, and then select some properties. So under magnetism, since I know I want to enable this and also kind of change some of the relationships, I'm going to also select X intensity. So what grab does is go through either the selected layers you have or your entire composition and grab any of the similar properties into a kind of like live link that you can change and select all together. So I'm going to click grab, and as you can see, some other layers are selected, and if I double press S on my keyboard for the shortcut, you're going to see that it has selected all the properties that we want without having to type or search manually, which is a really big time saver for working with animation. So when you're in this kind of grab live link, you can just toggle stuff all at once. So I can turn on or off all these selected options, and I can also do stuff with the X intensity. But if you ever want to get out of this, simply unselect your properties, just like if you had selected the properties yourself. So here's where magnetism gets really cool. We've enabled it, and we've also said that for the three-dimensional property of X, Y, Z on position, we want to affect the X intensity to a certain percentage. So right now, our M is based out of 100%, and for the last letter, why don't we make this based out of negative 100%? So now you can see that it actually jumps off the screen over to the right here, and this is because the relationship to the parent is now actually inverted completely. So I'm going to get this whole animation, but it's going to be completely mirrored. And the cool thing about these magnetism percents is they can go up to 999,000, either forward or backwards. So there's a ton of stuff you can actually build, and this works for X, Y, or Z properties, or all of them at once. So let's go and build this out real quick and do negative 50 here. We'll set this one to 0, and we'll set this one to 50. So we have this that's right. We have this kind of rigged up system that references our parent keyframes in this weird kind of staggered way, and we're going to make this look a lot better. So now that we've kind of started to build out our animation, what we're going to do is start working with the keyframes here because we did this really terrible animation. So the first thing we're going to do is just click G on your keyboard for the pen tool and click this little corner keyframe to kind of round it out and make it look better. So another quick little tip actually that's really nice is, if you didn't know this, I'm sure most people do, the dots on your lines are actually like the distance for the easing. So if a good kind of trick to see if your animation is going to be smooth is seeing if your lines have the same amount of dots or close to the amount of dots. And I can see that this one is obviously a longer space. So if I kind of bring this closer, you're going to see that the spaces on this line are a little bit smoother easing, even though it's a linear keyframe. So we'll set a keyframe just on the end here, just so it kind of eases into place, and I should probably center my comp, and there we go. We have this nice kind of smooth little delay thing happening. But the nice thing about Midas is if you click your parent control layer, you can actually do a ton of stuff with this delay more than this 25% relationship. You can turn it up so there's actually a bigger stagger, and right now we're only working with one property. Remember, you can work with any kind of property for this, and you can start to see how this will iterate through the keyframes that you designed in tons and tons of different ways. So what I'm going to do is set this back to like something like 15, kind of low, and I'm going to show off another feature that's really nice. So right now it's kind of working in this synchronized matter where all the synchronized way where all the letters are predictable, I guess, in which one's going to happen next. So if you go into drag for your parent control and enable it, you're going to see that we can actually go through all these seeds, which is going to randomize the delay within the set delay parameters that you already set. So you're able to get a ton of different iterations to your same motion design. Really, really cool. Not all of them are, of course, going to look good. Just one second, my computer's doing a lot of stuff here. But yeah, so I can bounce through and I can get a preview of all kinds of different drags. And, you know, this is still not that cool of an example, I guess. So I think we should probably add 2 more keyframes. Let's go and take a look at the dynamics module. If you click into advanced and under dynamics, we're going to enable this. So even though we have keyframes on our parent property, dynamics is always going to work on top of your keyframes. And you can also keyframe any of the many properties and modules that we have. So there's a lot of fun stuff to explore. Midas is literally an endless system. Like every single day I've kind of discovered a new use, and that's kind of why Kun and I talked about doing these live streams and just kind of making it cool for everyone. Hi to Saudi Arabia, and the Republic of Moldova, and Norway, and Arabia. Oh my gosh, everyone's here. Thank you so much for joining in, guys. And the Netherlands, that's where Koen's from. That's awesome. Oh, also, guys, if you do need a discount code, you can use Midas Touch. Just one word, kind of, but it's 2 words. You know what I'm saying? No space in the middle. I should just type this up real quick for you. And you can get a $20 discount. Midas is $50. So we tried to keep it as reasonable as possible for you guys. And also, it's a lifetime license too. So there's a ton of stuff that you can explore. And also, the tool has auto updates. So this lab screen is going to constantly be growing with new tools as well. So you can use this Midas Touch discount code for a $20 discount off a $50 purchase. So it's going to cost you $30 for a lifetime license. And it would support the channel and hopefully more tools. So that'd be rad. Little segue there. Sorry about that. So anyway, let's add those 2 other keyframes on dynamics and see what we wind up with. So now that we have dynamics enabled, I'm going to play our animation, which has keyframes, but even after the keyframes ends, well, we're kind of having this smooth like wiggle thing happen, but it's still happening with our magnetism environment and the keyframes we set up. So this is, again, parameters. You're able to change the amount, the intensity, all kinds of stuff. If you're into animations that look like this, it's really, really easy to make them and have a seizure. So that's a great feature to have inside of Midas. And we're going to actually not do that because it's not such a good look for this. We're going to set our frequency down to maybe like 1.6 something. And our amount we're going to actually keyframe, and this is where Midas can get really, really fun. So if you set a keyframe on your amount and press U on your timeline to see all your active keyframes, we'll go back in time and set another keyframe on our amount and go forward to the one we set previously and set this down to 0. So we're toggling down the amount of our dynamics, but not the effect of them. So as you can see, we're kind of back to more of our original setup, and I'll actually do a little bit of easing on this, just real basic. And I'm going to play this animation and we'll see what we get. So we have this cool little relationship where, you know, if you think about how many keyframes or how many times you'd have to go through and build this, it would have been pretty terrible experience, especially if this is, again, like a commercial project and you're working for some company that says we need this logo, but we want to see 20 designs. You can say, okay, no problem. Here's another one. Is this better for you? You can play with magnetism. You can play with all kinds of stuff to build out these really, really complex relationships with just a couple keyframes and some smart use of the controls. So if you do want to kind of see what's called a post-expression graph, you can toggle down. I actually don't recommend viewing this because it basically has to process every single frame to see like what the position path would be. So it's a little bit slow, but it's also kind of cool. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to kind of just click a couple of these and maybe we can see what kind of paths we created with just expressions. So if anyone has any questions, I'd really love to hear. Both Koen and I are really, really proud of this tool, and we spent months and months working on this. So if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. Or I'm just going to click these slow post-expression graphs and we'll kind of see what we've created with Midas. And also, I really do appreciate you guys even taking the chance to join a live stream because I'm probably not very good at them. This is the second attempt we've made at doing a live stream, so I'm sure there's a lot of improvement we can still do. Just a second here. So, oh, and of course I had to unselect them all. One more to go, and you're going to see we have something very similar to our original animation. So there you go. These are what we would have had to create if we were going to create this manually, which, you know, for all the subtleties at the end, it really would have probably taken quite a lot of keyframes and a lot of easing and speed graph work to get this to be what you want. And the really cool thing about working in this once again, I'm going to turn these off just so it's not slow, is you're never limited to the keyframes you make. You know, you can easily just, when you're only working with such a small selection, you can easily go and make live changes to your original keyframe and see how that works with your kind of Midas children. So I can change this and I can see like live interactions. I'll put this over here, make some, oops, I shouldn't have done that. That was the wrong choice. Let me grab this middle one here. We'll put this over here, maybe make this really terrible. And you can kind of just quickly go through and just see all these totally crazy relationships that you're able to design and build through magnetism. So anyway, this was the first stream we had for today. We really, really appreciate you stopping by and just supporting Mount Mograph and checking out the channel. We'll probably be sticking around in the chat for maybe 10 more minutes, and this is going to be archived on YouTube, so you can check it out later. And yeah, go down the trial. If you have any questions, shoot us an email. We really, really appreciate the support. Anyway, guys, we'll catch you later. Peace.